right, we got Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay, back in studio. How you doing, Greg?
Good to be back. It's definitely been a little bit since I've been here. It looks a little different with the plexiglass and everything else up.
Yeah, we're COVID-19 free here.
Right.
Disinfecting and all that good stuff. And that's what you're doing in the field now, too, right?
Yeah, it definitely made a change in how we have to operate in business. It's a new world out there, having to wear face masks and booties and gloves, and we're sterilizing our trucks and how to go contactless, as far as how we interact with our customers. So it's been an adventure, but it's been fun.
We're getting through it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we are. It seems to be. Things are starting to open back up. So hopefully it'll continue to move in that direction.
Yeah, real estate's been popping, the deemed essential real estate and lots of contracts coming in, and good thing, people are moving to Tampa Bay, I think even more so. So our businesses will flourish. Your business is going to flourish. People moving from New York, New Jersey, California, those high tax states, those states where it's just a lot of urban areas. They're moving away from a lot of those urban areas. States like Ohio, coming down to Florida. So coming down for this beautiful sunshine, and a lot more than just sunshine here in Tampa Bay.
Right, definitely. And we're here to make sure they're comfortable while they're here. So
that's right. Now, when you think about the AC system, you often say take care of your AC so it takes care of you when you need it. What are some quick tips that consumers can do to make sure, especially during this time of year, man? I tell you, it seemed like last week there was one of the days was super hot. Wednesday was a super hot day last week. Man, that humidity's been ticking up lately.
Yeah, definitely. It's been warm, and our phones are definitely reflecting that. But a consumer can definitely do a couple things to help keep their air conditioner from acting up on them. Number one is make sure the filters are being changed or maintained. That's the most important self-help or DIY thing you can do, is make sure those filters are clean. That more than anything probably causes the most amount of problems with an air conditioner. On top of that, about the only other DIY thing would be just kind of keep an eye on your drain. If you know where your drain comes out, they all have to drain out into a green space somewhere. So somewhere outside it should be draining on the grass or in a flower bed. Just keep an eye on it, make sure it's draining. If you see a lot of slime and stuff starting to appear on the end of the drain, it's usually an early warning indicator that the drain is getting slimed up and maybe become a problem. I would definitely recommend at least an annual maintenance routine. We do our VIP program, which we've talked about numerous times, but we do it twice a year in that. But at least an annual. If you don't want to do it twice a year, at a minimum, you should be at least doing an annual professional check on the system, make sure everything's good and not going to give you any grief.
Right. And the indoor air quality is one of those things that people don't really understand. We've got one of our newer show partners as well, Brandon Faust with Mold Zero. He talks about, different scenarios that he's seen with clients, and even personally where he's had some mold growing behind the baseboards, and it's like hard to find. But just in general, using your AC to act as a filtration between, that air quality. You mentioned the EPA in several shows as well.
Yeah, the EPA has, for years, has said that the air inside our homes is 5 times more polluted than the air outside, and there's proof beyond belief of that fact. But the air conditioning system is the easiest way to tackle that inside your home. It basically is moving the air and exchanging the air inside your home, recirculating the air inside your home constantly. So there are devices that can be attached to that to filter, the air, like traditional, air filters, but there are upgraded versions of that, as well as indoor air quality treatment devices like ultraviolet lights, ion generators, those types of things that will work to remove and eliminate bacteria, viruses, molds, mildews in the air. So it often isn't thought of as the possibility for that, but your air conditioner can definitely be used, to do that. And we're actually seeing, in light of the whole COVID thing, a lot of interest in that of, what can I do about particularly viruses in my air, especially since COVID's spread airborne. And there are devices, products that can tackle that. So much so to the point that on a global level, supply is extremely limited. We're struggling to get the products. They're on back order, a lot of them right now. even on the maintenance side of it, replacing maintenance parts. We're having a hard time getting those maintenance parts even right now because of everything.
Interesting. We're talking with Gregg Bowman here, the AC guy of Tampa Bay on the Consumer Quarterback Show, longtime friend of the program, and we often talk a lot about supporting the local economy. It's going to be a collaborative effect of local business owners, citizens, nonprofits, government, coming together, supporting local businesses here in Tampa Bay now more than ever. It's going to be a collaborative approach that's going to help pull us all out of this cumulatively, working together, support the local economy here in Tampa Bay. Gregg Bowman, AC guy of Tampa Bay, on the show. Now, Gregg, you have your VIP program, which to me is a no-brainer. We've got it on our personal residence, and it's great. You guys come out and check out the filters and check everything and make sure the system's operating. What's the cost of that? I remember it was super low cost.
Yeah, it's $14 a month is basically what it works out to. If you have multiple systems, it would be per system, but $14 a month covers us coming out twice a year, doing the full maintenance regimen, basically, so you don't have to think about it. It's kind of what we call set it, forget it type of mentality. We'll take care of it. You don't have to worry about it. We'll remind you when it's due, send out postcards, emails, schedule it with you, at your convenience. But we take care of all that maintenance, and then we also give some other perks. If something does break and you need a repair or something like that, you get a discount of 20% on that. You don't pay any overtime fees if you're on that program. So if it breaks at 2 in the morning on July 4th, we're out there fixing it at regular hour rates. So it's a good program, to make sure your system's being taken care of at a very reasonable rate.
Very cool. You got a great team as well. I remember one of the gentlemen that came out, last name was Fika, I think it was. I sold his mother's house. He's like, yeah, I know you. You sold my mom's house. What a small world it is here in Tampa Bay, right?
It is, yeah. I don't think I ever mentioned that to you, but when I first came on the show, he had mentioned, I think I know that guy. I think he took care of my mom's real estate. So.
We got her property sold down in South Tampa. Yeah. And, here's a question that comes up. I just had a property. One of the things that we hate in real estate is to go under contract, go through inspections. The inspector says, well, the roof's got average life on it. The ACs are older. They try to estimate the average life of the AC, and then the water heater, that's going to break down. And so some buyers that are kind of a little bit hesitant, scary, they back out of the contract. So now you got 10, 15 days off the market. In some cases, we negotiate much less on the inspection periods than a lot of other companies do, I believe. But how long can you estimate the average life of an AC unit based on just an inspection? If you go look at it, can you say, that one probably has 2 or 3 years left, or that might have 5 to 6, 7 years? How do you go about that?
Average lifespan on air conditioning has really come down. When I started in this industry, I was working for my dad when I was a little, from probably about 5 years old. I used to go along with him as a gopher, handing him tools.
Oh, yeah, I was a gopher, too.
Yeah. So, but in mid-'80s, something like that, I was in high school, and I was working for him. Back then, an air conditioner would last 20 years. Wow. Today, average life, especially here in Florida, since we run them so hard, is probably between 10 and 12 years. Maybe if you're lucky, you might get 15.
Wow.
Occasionally, we'll see an old antique that lasts 20, 25 years, but extremely rare. But if your unit is in that 10 to 12 time frame, you're getting into that time frame where you should start thinking about, hey, if something major occurs, it's going to probably be better to look at replacing rather than fixing. I can imagine in real estate that's frustrating because, like you said, you go through all that process and then that gets thrown into the mix and a buyer gets gun shy. So if it is in that 10 to 12 time frame, it's something to think about. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to last. Maybe you will get lucky and you'll get 20 years out of it, but it's at the point where if a major repair occurs, from a financial aspect, it just doesn't make sense to repair an air conditioner in that time frame.
Right.
Unless it's, easy.
Now, why are the older ones? You mentioned the older ones may have last longer than newer. Is it just for efficiencies of scale? They're building them faster, cheaper. Is it that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's just basically a commentary on our society as a whole. When I started, there was a couple of air conditioning companies that are absolutely no longer in business anymore, but they made amazing air conditioners that would last 25 years.
Wow.
But they're out of business because their air conditioners lasted too long. So
right, okay.
It's basically sad, but that's kind of what it is. And you find that in anything. You find that in appliances. You find that in anything in our society anymore. A company who makes a product that lasts just long enough so that somebody has to buy their product again is going
Interesting.
to, it's a business thing.
Yeah.
So they're just not built like they used to. I mean, if we
Right.
built air conditioners to last 25 years, they would cost 2 or 3 times what they cost today
Right.
to put in, because they've limited the amount of the millimeters of copper and steel and everything else that they put in them
Right.
to just the right levels to make them last just long enough.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's kind of a sad commentary on our culture, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, you see it in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
What is the average cost of a new system for an AC?
It's interesting you ask that, because we get asked that all the time, and it's really such a wide range.
Yeah.
It's like asking, what does it cost to buy a new car? You can buy a new car for $20,000, but you
Got
can
it.
spend $100,000 too. Air
Yeah.
conditioning, you can probably get one in the 3 to 4 range on the
Yeah.
low side, but
Yeah.
you can easily spend 15 or even 20 on the high end if you want a high end
Yeah.
unit. So it's so hard to
Small condo versus a big
Correct.
single family.
Correct, yeah, and the different features that they come with, a basic, entry level efficiency versus a variable speed zoned high end high efficiency unit.
Yeah.
Those things all factor in, just like buying a car, if you want the budget basic model or do you want the Lamborghini.
Right.
Different price ranges. So we get asked that all the time. What's it going to cost for this? And it's so hard because there's just so many variables. It's not like it was when my dad first started. There was basically one option then. Now there's 40 or 50. So
Exactly.
it's different.
Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay. Highly recommend working with Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to jump into some technology talk here. Michael Riker from Ogvo, they're going to be reaching out to us via Zoom, and more from Gregg Bowman as well in our lightning round.